Welcome back to another edition of the Backyard Sports Talk. I am Reid Jaco, and
I'm Danny Jaco.
We have a huge podcast planned. We were gone for a week or so. I am back to work full-time, working in the school system. Summer break is over, so podcast will be going out again on Mondays. No more of the Wednesday podcast. So there's just a quick programming note there. Got Clash in Paris this weekend on the 31st. By the time this thing does come out, Clash in Paris would have already come and passed. But we do have a good card for that. We're going to have a SmackDown recap and some AEW notes to get to that Dad will go over. And some big MLB news. We got some rising stars. We have some surprising teams that really have surprised the entire landscape of MLB. And we have some rule changes that we want to talk a little bit about. That's a potential rule change in MLB. And then NFL is almost underway. It's almost here. College football Sunday really kicked off this weekend, so that's a big one. And there was a big blockbuster trade made by the Dallas Cowboys this week, so we'll get all into it right here on the Backyard Sports Talk. So we're gonna first start with the Clash in Paris.
You watching
upcoming? Oh, I'm watching it for sure.
Too. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good card.
I'm really intrigued by the full card, and we'll get into a lot of different speculations on the card. But these are not in any order. But this is the card. It is John Cena and Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso for the world title. You got Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella for the IC title. And you got Wyatt Six and the Street Profits in tag titles. Just to name a couple. And then we have Sheamus and Rusev.
Yeah, Rusev.
So that is your card. Am I missing a match? I feel like I'm missing a match.
Did you get Tiffany?
Is Tiffany... Does she have a match tomorrow night? I didn't. Okay, so, I missed the Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed match.
Yeah. That's going to be a good match.
That's going to be a very good match. So again, to reiterate, we have John Cena, Logan Paul, and then we have the World Heavyweight Championship match, Fatal 4-Way with Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. The good old-fashioned Donnybrook match with Sheamus and Rusev, a singles match with Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed, and the Women's Intercontinental Championship match with Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella, and a Tag Team Championship over on SmackDown brand is the Wyatt Six and the Street Profits. That is your six-man card for Clash in Paris.
It's a big card, isn't it?
It is a big card.
Hey, before we get started here, I want to ask you a couple questions, entertainment here. I want to know what your feeling is on the first three matches. Who do you think will go over on the first three matches you have listed?
So the first three matches I have listed, I think John Cena will beat Logan Paul. I think Seth Rollins will retain. He's not that far into his title run, and I think that with... I like the push for both CM Punk and LA Knight. I just think that you're running out of options. And to me personally, you've already used your cash in. If he ends up losing it this soon, it almost is like a waste of a cash in. So I think it's going to be Rollins there. And with the Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella, I'm going a completely different route than others. I think Nikki Bella wins it because if Becky stays around, and stays relevant like she needs to be, and I think that she could potentially be on top for the vacated title.
That's true. I think I'm a little different than you on this. I think that Logan Paul will go over. I may not, but I think that this would really get Logan Paul a good push.
I mean, it would get him a good push because, I mean, if you look back at this John Cena last ride run, if you want to call it this, how many of those matches has included Logan Paul? Or how involved has Logan Paul been with this whole thing? He has been super involved.
Right.
And, you know, I wouldn't put it past them to give them for Logan Paul to win. I just think for the nostalgia act of it and, you know, me growing up, and that was the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up.
You know, when you was a young kid,
absolutely. If you didn't know anything about wrestling, you knew who John Cena was.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the one caveat to that I will say, Cena might go over just for the fact that it might take some luster away from he and the Brock match if he's lost to Logan Paul.
I can agree with that.
So maybe I need to rethink that. But anyway, and I think Becky will go over on Nikki Bella.
See, I'm still going to the fact I think she's got bigger and better things because, you know, she's getting to that age, you know, she's still a beast out there. She's still the man. However, she's getting to that age where I think that, you know, it's time to probably see probably a last ride.
She's not going to be any better than she is. This is the best she's ever going to be right now.
Right.
And it won't be long till she'll be going the other way. All right, I don't like to interrupt you, but I thought that was worth talking about.
Right. Now, something that I kind of, you know, have really been kind of back and forth on is the Wyatt Six and the Street Profits. So the Wyatt Six, now they are tag champions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have the Street Profits beating the Wyatt Six. I have no really rhyme or reason. I just think the Wyatt Six they're not selling, they're not going over like
they're not over
that,
very good at all.
Like WWE would want them to.
Yeah, they're not.
So that's why I think that Street Profits would probably get the edge.
I think it'll change just because, like you said, the Wyatt Six is not over very good, and when they want somebody that's over that's champion, you know. And
absolutely.
I don't know how much merchandise and stuff they're selling, but probably not as much as they want them to be.
All right, so you watch the show, so I will let you talk about it. Why don't you go ahead and give us the rundown of SmackDown on Friday night, August the 29th?
Yeah, that was I did miss part of that one. I did miss an hour of it. It was good. I thought that, to me, the highlight of the whole thing was Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Drew McIntyre was out there, basically, running his mouth about some things, about Randy and stuff, and Randy come out there, and so he tried to get to Drew and end up RKOing several people and several of the security, which he got in trouble for later in the show on it. But anyway, finally Drew sucker punched him and knocked him down. So that feud's really, Drew was out there bad mouthing, talking about Randy and the singer.
Oh, Jelly Roll.
Jelly Roll. He was out there bashing Jelly Roll, and Randy didn't like it, and he come out there. And but I think that's going to be a good. I think that's a good. That can really do a lot. That can get a lot of momentum out of that.
Do you think that this goes further, or do you think that this is a potential that you could see at like WrestlePalooza in September? And it is, as we sit right now, we are like right at 22 days from WrestlePalooza.
I think it'll probably go then. They might even get 2 pay-per-views out of that. Have they feuded before? I'm trying to remember.
The only feud that I've seen here, with the whole Jelly Roll stuff that happened at SummerSlam, unless they feuded several years ago.
I can't recall.
When I wasn't watching, but I know over the last year they haven't really feuded.
I think it would really be. I think that would, to me, that would be something that you could get a lot of mileage out of. I think that would be good. Both of them are very good performers, and both of them are over big. So I think it would be a pretty big deal. And I think for anybody that matters, I think I just recently read that Drew McIntyre signed another contract with WWE.
Oh, okay, awesome.
He's, like I said, a good performer. He'd be
absolutely.
ashamed to let something happen to him.
For sure.
Of course, I think that Randy Orton will be a lifer. I think he'll Yadier Molina of wrestling. They're not going to let him get away.
Right.
But anyway, that's about the biggest part of SmackDown that I can say, because I did miss some of it. That part was very entertaining. And
in my notes here, I have that there was drama with Cena and Lesnar, and along the lines with Nick Aldis. Were you watching at that time?
That was Monday night, wasn't it?
Was it Monday night? Because
wasn't last night.
Nick Aldis is the SmackDown.
Maybe it was last SmackDown, a week ago Friday.
Okay.
Okay. Cena was was talking, and then Logan Paul come out there, and they had their words and couple pretty good promos. So I don't remember. I think Logan Paul. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Logan Paul kind of got out of the ring, got away from him because Cena was about ready to come after him. Well, late at the end of the show, Aldis stepped out of the hall. He goes, "John," and Cena was walking towards him. He was in the back, and Aldis said, I just got off the phone with Brock Lesnar." And about that time, Logan Paul Pearl Harbors him from behind, and it went off.
Interesting. Yes.
So I'm not exactly sure that
Okay.
I missed a follow up on that, but it was a good show.
Okay. Right.
I thought SmackDown was a little better last week than this week.
Right. So if there was any drama last night, you didn't see the you didn't see any follow up from that.
No, I did not. I missed,
Okay.
like I said, I missed a big part of it.
Okay. Well, I know something that you did see, because I did get a message from you last night saying this, but we have a new United States champion.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot that.
Can you tell us a little bit about that match and what your thoughts about that match is, and how do you feel for this new champion?
Well, it was a good match, and I unfortunately I was on a phone call part of it, but I'm still watching it. And Sami Zayn had to go through all kinds of obstacles. The bunch that Solo brings out there, and it was really difficult. And Sami Zayn is one of those guys that is he is excellent in the ring. He's an excellent performer, and he finally got the win. And then the other guys couldn't get in there to save Solo. But it was a good match. It really was. And I was hoping Sammy would win. He deserved it. But I think Sammy's going to make a wonderful champion.
So here's kind of what my thoughts were. This is the first time that you're probably hearing this, because this is the first time I'm saying this. This is just something that I've kind of been brewing over the last, we'll say, 24 hours since I heard the news. Now that I have seen pictures this week that KO has lost a bunch of weight and he is rehabbing well. Could this possibly be a thing? Possibly maybe at the War Games type, right there at the end of the year. Could Kevin Owens make a return and feud with Sami Zayn? Because if you go back and remember back in all the way back, I think it was it the one in Toronto? It may have been even before that, but when Kevin Owens landed on that ladder, Sami Zayn tried to come out there and help him, but Kevin Owens didn't really want the help and was kind of,
right.
There was a start of something there, and then we saw where Kevin Owens went on injury leave and was out, for an extended amount of time. I don't know how long his injury is.
It's actually a pretty serious injury. It's a neck injury. So, and he may be getting. I feel like he's getting a little closer. He's been out for a while, though, ain't he? That was way before WrestleMania, wasn't it?
Yes, like I said, I can't remember if it was Elimination Chamber or if it was.
I think it was last winter, wasn't it?
It was either the show in February or the show in March. It was.
I think it was February.
It was either Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber.
Right. Well, I did read a little bit on this week. I wanted to talk about Kevin, that, he has a neck injury and it was operated on, and they say that it's going good, but, how good do you go with neck injuries are dangerous. They're very dangerous. And Kevin Owens does not do anything halfway when he wrestles. I mean, he puts it all into it there. And they said that Kevin is working, getting in. Some of them say that he's going to be in the best shape of his career. We'll see from there. But, I think that you could be right about the Sami Zayn thing. I think that could be it. I just don't know how much longer it is till he's coming back. That's the thing.
Right. So he did have neck surgery, a neck fusion surgery in July of 2023, and his return to the ring is certain. While the surgery was successful, his future in wrestling depends on how his body heals, with some recovering time such often ranging from 6 months to a year or more. So if this was in July, so if
2023, you said.
Oh, I said 2025.
You said 23, but
I said 25.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so I'll probably listen to this back and I'll hear 23, but I said I meant 2025. So in July of 2025, he had that surgery. So it requires such time to often ranging from 6 months to a year or more. So
probably not coming back for a while.
So I don't know, whether or not if this is even in the cards or not, but. Because, with the Karrion Kross, that ship has sailed. He's done it out unless this whole thing is a complete work show.
Yeah.
And he comes out of the freaking woodworks in late November and decides to.
I don't really think it is. I think you're probably going to hear, in fact, I kind of thought by this podcast we would have heard it, that he would have signed by TNA by then. I think that's probably where he's going to go.
I don't think he will, because TNA and WWE have a huge partnership on wrestling. So anybody that is released by WWE, I do not see them attempting to try to return to go to TNA, because I don't think TNA will sign them, because basically anymore without the actual the changing of ownership, TNA and WWE are one and the same anymore.
They could get Cross is really good. He's a good in the ring. Got the good look. He's still young enough. He lacks a little bit of maybe a little charisma, but if he could get the right mouthpiece to be with him, that AEW could take him and make him a superstar.
Shoot, bring him in there and put him with your buddy Callis.
That's what I was thinking. Put him in there with Don Callis. And I think that you could do a lot with him, I think.
How is she on the mic? Could she possibly do something?
I don't remember her really saying much, do you?
No, not really. If she could master the mic skills, they could go somewhere and do good, because I think they pretty much have already said that they're a package deal.
Right.
They will not sign any. He would not sign anywhere. So basically, what I had heard is they were going to sign him, but not her. And then he wanted to renegotiate.
They wanted to do her separately, he said.
Yeah.
And they was going to give him a little more than he had last time, and he wanted to know how they was going. I thought he should get more. He wanted to know how he had been scored, graded, what merit. He wanted to know that. They wouldn't talk to him about it. And they told him he had 24 hours to make a decision, or they was withdrawing it. So he said he just didn't. He said it was one of them deals he felt like that they didn't want him there. So he didn't.
Right.
I would love to have saw them. If they would have put him with Heyman, they could have. I mean, I know Heyman can't have everybody, but they could have. Here's the thing. If I would have been them, I would have re-signed him and just kind of let him simmer along the way. Just kind of let him do what he was doing until you get some room with Heyman's Heyman's group there and get him in there.
The problem is, and this is one thing that the WWE has flaws on, and I know you absolutely love it. You think it's the greatest thing ever, but I don't. I don't think everybody and their brother needs to be with Paul Heyman at one point in their careers.
No, I don't think that.
Because when I think of that, I think about back in the 1990s, late 90s, when WCW had the New World Order, and everybody and their brother was a part of the New World Order.
I get that. But the reason you want some of them with Heyman is the ones that are not real good on the microphone.
Like, I mean, if we're being in all honesty, Seth Rollins does not need to be with Paul Heyman.
Absolutely not. You really don't. Because here's the thing, they had trouble for a long time getting Roman over good for years. He'd been champion a long time, but he just never could. He was over, but not the way they wanted him. Maybe he used to get booed all the time, even when he was a babyface.
Right.
But they finally put him with Heyman and got him where he needs to be. But Seth Rollins has been over for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really see the reason why they did that.
Seth Rollins has been over ever since the Authority days. You remember the Authority storyline?
Absolutely.
So he's really been over since then, since the breakup of the Shield and the Authority. So he's really been on top of the world since then. And there is no reason why Paul Heyman should have ever been paired with him.
No.
At all.
I agree with that 100%. Fatu and Braun Breaker are two that's good they have with him.
Yes. Now, but Fatu's not with him. It's Bronson Reed.
I mean Bronson Reed. I'm sorry. I stand to be corrected. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are two that is good to have with him because they're getting over.
Right.
But I agree with you 100%. I don't know what the benefit of having Seth there. Really, I mean, Seth didn't need that.
I mean, and there's not a whole lot of true over, if that makes sense, because to me Seth was already over before this.
Oh, he was.
So I mean, if you're gonna pair up Rollins with somebody, maybe they should have paired him up with The Rock and did the whole heel turn with Rollins instead of Cena, because that would have been more, I think, enjoyable, and it would have worked better than the whole Cena flip and Cena heel turn.
Well, one thing WWE needs to do is they need to get at least one or two more managers. And Vince just about done away with the managers. And I think that they need another one or two in there. Another Don Callis type, something like that, not just Paul Heyman. Make it a little more interesting. Or bring one in as a babyface manager. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But Heyman is so good of getting people over. I mean, and I think it's 100% correct for the two that he's got, those young guys, Braun but I agree with you. I don't really understand the reason it's set unless they're just wanting to make Seth invincible. I don't know.
I guess. You know who they did this a couple of years ago, but he's been a lifelong wrestling fan, and I think with him coming from an actor's background, you could probably make it work. But why not try to bring in Stephen Amell, also from the show Heels, and have him kind of be some type of that baby face manager.
That would be good.
Because to me, I think who would be a better person to bring in than somebody who has been a lifelong fan, understands the entertainment aspect.
And he
of
actually
it,
wrestles, right?
But he did,
or has, yeah.
He has in WWE. But also comes from that acting background.
Exactly. He's got the tools. He's got all the tools. That would be good. I think that would be good to bring in, have him as a babyface manager. I hope Triple H does some of that. They, years ago, managers was such a big deal in wrestling, and they don't have to, and they got into too much into the valets.
Yes.
Which is okay. I'm not against that at all, but I still like the old school, the Jim Cornettes, the Bobby Heenan, the Paul Heyman and Slick and Mr. Fuji, guys like that. They
Now,
used to have.
you mention all these managers, and you're not mentioning one of my favorite managers of all time. The one that was with The Undertaker for many years.
Oh, Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
Paul Bearer.
That was way before. That was a little bit before my time, and especially way before I was even watching wrestling. But recently, when I did get in, I saw
Percy
videos
Pringle.
on that.
Oh, he was great.
Right. No, he was pretty good. But no, we're talking about speculations here, and I think we talked a little bit about this the last time we met. But how about a potential Chris Jericho WWE return?
I think that I look for that to happen. There's already word going around who they'd like to see him battle or, have a program with. Who do you think? I think it's good too.
Somebody that's been there a while, or somebody that's kind of younger and flashier?
Well, they've been there. I don't know how long they've been there, but they're pretty popular right now.
I'm going to say Gunther.
No, they're saying a lot of people saying L.A. Knight.
See, I don't like that.
I kind of do.
No, I mean I love L.A. Knight. Don't get me wrong.
Jericho could even get him over more though.
L.A. Knight's already over. I mean, the only thing that they need to do for L.A. Knight is give him the title. Everybody loves him. He is the ultimate babyface since John Cena, and everybody loves him. It's L.A. Knight, yeah. So I mean, they all love him, and you gave Jey Uso a title run for nearly 4 or 5, was it probably close to 6 months.
Right.
Why not give a guy that's been there every week and has worked his butt off in LA Knight, give him the title? I mean, you don't have to have a 6 month worth of a title reign, but I still think he deserves a world title.
I do too. But WWE, man, there's a lot of talent there right now, and good talent. When you got guys like Punk and Rollins and Roman Reigns and unfortunately, L.A. Knight's kind of reminded me of some of the guys in the WWF in the early 90s that this day and time would be champion. I mean, guys like Mr. Perfect and people like that would have been, but there were so many good, there was Hogan and all them big stars there, Ultimate Warrior and all that, and there was no way to really justify bringing them in. But, like Perfect, Kurt Hennig, and some of those guys had been along after that, they would have been they'd had the belt. But, and right now we're seeing a little bit of that now. There's just so many people. I just hope L.A. Knight don't get lost in the whole thing.
Right. As much as I love Cody being champion, I think, it's like one of those things where, you can't, how Jim Cornette says that you don't miss them, and, you can't miss them unless they're gone.
Yeah, how do you miss me if I'm not gone?
Right. So, with the birth of his child, why don't you work out a deal with Cody? Be like, hey, take 3 months off. We don't want you here at all. Give his title to somebody else, and then in 3 months, he comes back.
Cody?
Yes.
Is he having another baby?
Brandy just gave birth.
Oh, again?
Yes.
I knew they did that was a year or so ago, wasn't it?
She just gave birth, like, this week.
Oh, well, congratulations. Congratulations.
So,
I see what you're saying.
So, what I'm getting at here is that, take some time, go be with your child, and then come back in 3 months while the entire world is missing you, and, somebody big is champion at this point, whether it's a CM Punk heel turn or, LA Knight is holding that title, and if LA Knight is your babyface there, you can turn Cody Rhodes into the ultimate heel, because that's kind of been something that's kind of been swirling around in the rumor mill over the last 3 months is, when's Cody going to turn? Cody's going to turn eventually.
And I think that the words come out, I don't remember what podcast it's on, that Cody's said that he doesn't want to turn. And I don't know that they want to turn Cody. I think I'd leave Cody alone.
Well, I mean, it's taken them 30 years to finally give him, his rightful place. I mean,
right.
that Stardust days. There's no way in hell you would pay me enough money to go out there in that gear and wrestle like that.
He never did get over. He wasn't over as Stardust.
Absolutely not.
He didn't really get over until he got in AEW. Then he started getting over, and then he exploded in WWE.
Right. When he truly exploded when he finished his story a couple of years ago.
But and I know we're having some pretty good discussions here, so I'm okay. Would Cody have been as big as he is now if he had not been in AEW?
No.
That exposure, right. I think that exposure really got him up there, a lot more recognized.
CM Punk would not be wrestling today if it wasn't for AEW.
Nope. He would have been over just as much, but he wouldn't be wrestling probably. That's what got him back.
He wouldn't be, because, he took, 10 years off?
Yeah.
Or longer?
Something like 7 or 8 or about 10 years, I think, yeah.
And, it's like it was almost a miracle that, you turn on the TV, oh my gosh, it's CM Punk.
Right. And Punk is at the situation that if he is going to wrestle again, he needs to do it because age is not his friend right now.
Absolutely. So when it comes to CM Punk, if you're going to give him the true title reign, other than was it
5 minutes?
Was it 5 minutes? I thought it was like 4 minutes and 35 seconds.
Maybe it was, but he did
like
win it. He did win it.
He did win it. But if you're going to give him another long-term reign, you've got to make that happen soon. And I've said this for probably the last month. Is I think that what they've got going on for CM Punk, whether Seth Rollins holds the championship until after the first of the year, he's going to continue to fall short this fall and winter, and then once you come to February or into January, whenever Royal Rumble is, Royal Rumble is going to be overseas in Saudi. Saudi likes the older wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
He wins the Rumble and finally gets his WrestleMania moment.
I don't like that. I'm not sure. It's a good question for you, Mr. Information Guy. He's never won a Royal Rumble, has he?
I don't believe so.
That would really be good for him.
Right.
And I want to see him have a good run again.
Yes.
And I'd like to see him do it on a WrestleMania. Let him have that WrestleMania time. But yeah, I like the idea of that. I think Punk would be when he does retire, could leave very comfortable with that, if winning a Royal Rumble.
Right. So no, he has not won a Royal Rumble match. So you could say that because I believe at this point he's a 2-time champion.
Yes.
The champion in his earlier days when he feuded with Cena the first time.
And he held it a long time, over a year.
Yes.
Like 15 months or something like that.
And then this time at like 5 minutes.
Yeah. He had one of the longer ones, and then the first time, and one of the shorter ones this time.
Believe it or not, it is not the shortest one. I think
Yokozuna had it for just a minute or two at the WrestleMania once.
Well, in modern, I cannot think of his name. Oh my goodness. He Drew McIntyre.
Yes, I remember that.
He had it for 3 minutes and some seconds.
Yeah. Was that a Money in the Bank cash in too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was. So you were discussing a bunch of different wrestling stuff going on here.
A lot of stuff going on in wrestling right now.
So we had talked a little bit about the Clash in Paris that is going to air tomorrow afternoon. And then we had word a couple of weeks ago that the ESPN is going to kick off their live streaming of WWE in September with WrestlePalooza in Indianapolis, Indiana. So my question to you is, who do you think headlines that match? Just knowing now, because we are like 20-some days from this match. So just as, you're sitting here, we're just, talking about it. Who do you think headlines this match? Then I'll tell you who I think it is.
Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, unless they bring the world title into it there.
I see that, but I think the ultimate, the ones that are going to ultimately headline it is going to be Cena and Lesnar. I think they're going to go ahead
That's
and
a
do
good
that
point.
there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I wasn't thinking about that. Is a good. You think they'll do it there?
I think they'll do it there because here's my thing. It is the same night as All Out for AEW, and they are going to want to win that night just like they had to do in July when All Out was. I mean, it's not a competition, but they are acting like it's a competition. Yeah. So that is why I fully believe that Lesnar and Cena will headline that PLE.
AEW is not a threat to WWE.
Not at all. But if you see any of the stuff that they're doing, they are acting like they're a threat.
I'm telling you, there is enough interest. There's enough fans that two companies can survive, and they don't have to be trying to cut each other down.
Oh, 100%.
And three can survive.
No, here's the thing, though, is I agree with you 100%. But if you look at everything, they're acting like it's a battle.
Yeah.
So that's, if they want that to be a part of the storyline, guess
true.
what? I'm gonna play into that. You can sit back and say that this is not a battle. This they ain't got nothing to worry about. I get that. But if they want me to believe that, I'm gonna believe that. That's because true. I fully support kayfabe. And I tell you another thing that because I support kayfabe, I will not watch the WWE documentary.
No, I don't.
I
don't like that.
That tells all about all that.
Well, used to they did everything to protect the business, and it's a shame that they're doing this.
I won't watch it because I like kayfabe.
I do too, and I wish they would. And I bet Cornette's not happy about this. Used to guys did everything to protect the business.
Right.
And I mean, this is exposing it bad.
I mean, nobody does it anymore, and it's a shame.
And it's hard with the internet.
It is hard with the internet. I get that, but they're not helping it with all these TV deals, all these backstage videos, this, that, and the other.
One thing while we're still here, I want to bring up that's newsworthy. I didn't forget what I was going to say. Who did that on a podcast the other day? Somebody did that. I was listening to it, and they forgot. I drew on the blank.
I got no idea. So we're going to talk a little bit about your AEW stuff. So if you want to go ahead and give us a rundown on all of my notes here and kind of what I've got here, and then we can discuss things as we go. I have not watched a whole lot of AEW last couple of weeks. Been terribly busy with getting back to work, and I haven't been watching a whole lot of WWE, but two promotions is a lot harder to follow than just one sometimes. So,
well, I know one thing I was going to say. What I was going to say, Eric Bischoff has made a bold statement and says that TNA is shortly getting ready to become the number 2 promotion, passing AEW.
Well, I mean, when you've got,
apparently they're really doing good right now.
Well, I mean, when you've got WWE in your pockets,
that's true,
and they're feeding your pockets, I mean, of course you're going to succeed. Because you say that, I mean, if Endeavor or TKO would sign over $100 million to AEW, look how they would jump.
That's true. TNA is about to be bought. It's getting ready to, the way I understand it, he's made a proposal. The person that owned UFC before they sold it before Endeavor got it, and this person is a friend of WWE. They say. So their partnership will still continue. I just wonder what the price tag on that. Tony Khan will probably try to buy it if he wants to spend. He spent way too much money on Ring of Honor, I think. But but here's the thing: that video library is worth a lot of TNA because there's a lot of stuff on it. They've been around for 20 years, or maybe a little.
Was it 02 or 03?
Yeah, over 20 years, and you've had a lot of. You've had You've had the Nashes, the Hogans, the Flairs, and all the others that's come through there. So there's a good video library, and that would really be something for Tony if he wanted to start his own network. to put that on there.
Right.
But it's gonna have a high price tag.
Right.
And WWE, you know, they got a big library now.
Oh yeah,
and they
for
just
sure.
keep adding it on there, you know.
Yeah.
And I heard that may stay with Peacock.
I don't see how.
That's the way I understood it. That for now, that was going to stay with Peacock.
Right now, though, but we've still got roughly 6 months of the year left.
That's true. I just feel like WWE has got, I hate to say it, I'm going to be blunt, a little too money hungry.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about money.
And I feel like they gave up on their network too quick.
Because here's the thing. If you're going to be one of these spenders, and I'm not going to do it, and go out and spend your $30 on your pay-per-view,
We'll do it.
I'm not doing it. I will. You laugh. You can laugh at me, but I will not. I'm not going to continue to give them more money.
You can go with your buddies and watch the PLEs.
Well, but here's the thing, though. Is there is other ways to get those PLEs. And, in fact, Stephanie McMahon actually promoted getting a VPN and watching Netflix Canada edition or Britain or
surprised me that she said
Africa or some other country outside of the United States.
That's something that we need to look at. I was kind of surprised. I remember that. I was kind of surprised she said that, but
I don't think the library will fully stay with Peacock because I think Peacock's going to get pissed off that they took
come in and use
the
this
PLEs from us, and then
right.
You're just going away. But personally, what needs to happen if Tony Khan was smart, if NBC Universe, that's Peacock, gets away from WWE completely, Tony Khan needs to jump in and say, "Hey, listen here. Why don't we put our weekly shows on NBC on Saturday nights, and then on NBC Peacock on Wednesday nights?"
I don't know if you'd want to take it away from Turner. Altogether, Turner's been pretty loyal to him so far, but I think what you really would want to do is put your PLEs, your pay-per-view is getting long in the tooth. And I think it would be better to get us. I think he'd be better off to sell a subscription on Peacock, make it affordable, and then have all the PLEs there. Nobody's got to pay $39.95 or anything like that for a PLE anymore.
Try $49.95
or $49.95. Nobody's got to pay that anymore. And he could sell the subscription cheaper than WWE is.
Well, see, here's the thing with the so he's got like I don't know what you call it, a channel, an app for Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So what he could do is move Ring of Honor and the PLEs to Peacock.
Right.
Then once you buy that Peacock subscription, you've automatically got that subscription, and then Turner can still hold Dynamite and Collision.
And maybe give Peacock you probably wouldn't have to. If you wanted to give them something else, you could give them some kind of an extra pay-per-view or something. They don't. What do they do now? Like 5 or 6 a year.
Yeah, but they're getting to where they're getting more. But right. I think if you sign a TV deal like that, you've got to cut out this residency bull crap.
Yeah.
Well,
they ain't gonna do the residency on the PLEs though.
No, but I cannot stand to see.
Why does the residency bother you so much?
I hate it because here's the thing: wrestling is about travel. Wrestling is even when I was a kid, and then even now, when I would turn on wrestling, it would be a different place every night.
That's true. Well, the singers are doing it. Katy Perry spent that time in Las Vegas. Remember last year, 2 years ago.
Well,
there's a lot of them that.
Well, can she deliver an F5?
No.
Can she jump off the top rope?
No. Now Taylor Swift stayed active. I think on that one tour she went all over the world. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but
but here's the thing though. That's like Major League Baseball. I mean, yeah, we have homestands. I get that. But we travel. Football just don't play their one game at one particular place all season long or 2 or 3 weeks of the year.
It's just a lot more cost effective right now for them, I'd say, to do the.
That's why I'm saying if they sign a TV deal, they can't do this residency anymore because I don't know how
they could for their weekly shows. It's on TBS, couldn't they?
They would have more money, and I would not.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Here's the thing: I do not want to watch them if they are doing any type of residency.
I see what you're saying. They're going, and I think it really would increase their money. They could sell Peacock for $10 a month. And people could watch all, they need to add a few more pay-per-views to it, though.
Right.
But they could create their own video library, which would have Ring of Honor and what they've accumulated over the last 6 years. That would have some value to it for people. And then you could add probably 1 to 2 more, maybe 2 more pay-per-views and have all of them on there and for $10 a month, and people would be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially the people that's paying $49.95 for a pay-per-view.
As crazy as it sounds, that AEW does have a following.
Oh, yeah. And I have hopes for it. I want to see it do good.
It has a lot of flaws, and I will not sit back and, be distressful about the flaws because their flaws are terrible. Mm-hmm. Their story writing is god-awful.
Mm-hmm. Some of it's not even story telling.
Their selling is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that this entire calendar year that I've been impressed with was All In in July. I was truly impressed. Yes, it was a 15-hour program, what seemed like down in Texas. But they left it all open. They told stories through that 6-hour program, and it made you feel like, I got to watch Dynamite this week. Here, it's just, there's not really much story going on.
That's true. What was the special that we watched a few weeks ago when it was a good show? It was a 3-hour show that night.
Yes, it was a 3-hour program, I think. I think it had to do with their luchador promotion.
And that was a good card.
Because see, which one do that CMLL they got because WWE has AAA.
Right. And they could, there's stuff that they could also accumulate from there for a video library.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but that was a good card that night we watched it. It was probably one of their best ones I'd saw.
Here's the thing, though. You can have good cards, but if you don't have any story behind them,
exactly,
then it's nothing.
No, it's nothing. Professional wrestling has to have a story.
Right.
They need a Dutch Mantel, somebody like that in there to help them.
I've said this for months now. They need to bring in Eric Bischoff.
Yeah.
And give him a barrel of money. Say, hey, make us a good, recognizable promotion.
Right. Exactly. Get some some good storytellers in there. And Jake the Snake they had in there for a while. I was hoping that I don't think they ever let him do it, but he would be good. He was on WWE's creative once. And Jake's really got he's a good wrestling mind.
Well, and another thing is another good creative mind when it comes to whether it's wrestling or whatever is a Chris Jericho, but I don't think they've the way I hear it is Tony's doing the entire writing himself.
Tony won't let the reins of it go. He's got the reins and holding on to them tight, and he's going to have to do that. He can still be a part of it.
Absolutely.
But why don't he bring in 2 or 3 guys to help him?
Well, see, here's my thing. Let me ask you this. Did Vince do 100% of all the writing for his entire tenure in WWE?
Oh, no, he couldn't. He always had people helping him.
Exactly.
He always had people.
That is right there explains everything.
Here's what Tony needs to do. He could say, I want John Moxley and I want Hangman Adam Page to wrestle. And I want John Moxley to go over. Then the creative writes the story.
Yes, right.
So he could still basically book, but let them tell the story.
Right. Right.
They need to have a good and that's if you took Jake Roberts, Chris Jericho, and and maybe got another one in there like a Bischoff or something like that, and put them together on a team, they could roast some good stories.
Oh, absolutely.
But if Tony could still kind of pick the booking, but he's got to have storylines.
Right. Yes. I mean, to me, for example, a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that takes time.
Right.
And a lot of writing because those shows happen 5 days a week.
In the early 90s, before WWE got as big as when Cornette went to WWE, it was Cornette and Bruce Pritchard that was their creative. And then Vince decided who went over, who he wanted to do. But
right.
They wrote the story. Of course, Vince would be involved in it. But they were the ones who wrote the story. And there's no reason Tony shouldn't do that.
Oh, absolutely. And I completely agree with you. Like, and that is one, you asked me this, earlier and even last night, have I gotten down on wrestling? No. It takes a lot out of me to watch AEW because I'm lost 90% of the time. Like, I see an okay match, but it's not a stellar match.
Right.
But there's no real story. There's nothing that piques my interest.
There's no drama to it.
If I turn on a WWE program, and it's been a crazy couple weeks, and I haven't watched it just because I've been extremely busy. But if I turn on a WWE program, I'm glued to it the entire time because there's storylines.
Like
there's
Dutch Mantell says
stuff going on the entire
Dutch
time.
Mantell says it's got to tell a story. Just like the Jelly Roll and all that. Logan Paul, it's still going really. I mean, they told a good story there. Jelly Roll come in, and all that. But
I mean, because with the whole Jelly Roll, the storyline there is, Jelly Roll, he took the pin and he lost. He went on, but then it continues with McIntyre and Randy Orton.
Right, and they can get some mileage out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
But I keep thinking maybe Tony will do something like that. But I think you're really right. Or I think they need to pick up Peacock if it becomes available. They need to try to get in there, get a pretty nice lucrative contract, and fans can't always pay this $50 for pay-per-view all the time.
I think that you looked way back in July when they had All In, but you can't tell me that their viewership wouldn't jump up by 120 points if they made a subscription of. I mean, even $15 a month if you have the video library and you have a pay-per-view a month. I would pay that.
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah, I would too. As it is now, I got to pay $40-$50 to watch one pay-per-view, and I'm not doing that. No,
because you buy that pay-per-view, and a lot of the times, if you're lucky, you only get it for a certain amount of time, then it just goes away.
And even this deal here with WWE, if you do have to do the 30, it's still a lot cheaper than buying a pay-per-view every month. They're paying $50-$60 for it.
Yeah, I hate it because they're just so money hungry, man.
Yeah, I know. They're making so much money too.
They are. It's insane. Like why do they keep going on and on, gouging their fans for money? They've got this great partnership with Saudi Arabia. They're going to probably do a second WrestleMania over there next year.
Right.
So why do they continue to gouge the people that brought them fame?
And I think Royal Rumble is going to be a 2-day event this year too, isn't it?
I don't know about in 26, but I know in 27, ESPN is wanting all the pay-per-views to be 2 days.
2 days. Well, you couldn't do that. I would say it'd just be the big ones, wouldn't it? WrestleMania.
Probably WrestleMania,
WrestleMania.
SummerSlam.
Survivor Series.
It's War Games now, but War Games Survivor Series.
Royal Rumble.
And then possibly the Royal Rumble.
That was the 4 original pay-per-views they had.
Yes.
Used to be all the time. So, yeah, I could see all them being.
But, another thing that really just continues to tick me off is, when it comes to WWE and, even as far as that goes, AEW, is I understand that they're trying to pop into the Europe market and the Middle Eastern markets.
Well, they're in the Europe pretty good, but they're trying to get into the Middle Eastern.
But personally, pay-per-views should be held in the United States.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't care if you, because here's my thing. They're making tons of money, and they would make even more money if you took a couple of months out of the year, say May, June, July, and say maybe August, but mainly May, June, and July. Those are your heart of your summer months, okay? What do we have in May? Nothing, right? Usually nothing.
Night of Champions?
That's in June.
Okay, June. All right, go ahead.
So we usually have nothing until your Money in the Bank in June or whatever.
Right.
So why don't you have one of your Saudi or European shows in May? End of May. You can broadcast it over wide, but your main pay-per-views that you've had for 20 years, like your Money in the Bank,
right.
your Royal Rumbles, your Survivor Series, your Summer Slams, WrestleManias, all this other stuff, keep them in the States.
That's the way Vince had it set up.
And instead of just continuing to add these other shows to...
That being said, I'm not too bad with having one of those shows in England, UK, and stuff like that.
But they come on at noon.
That's true. That's difficult. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Because, if you can have, say, two separate shows. For example, if they want to make this WrestlePalooza a thing every year, okay?
WrestlePalooza UK, call it, or something
right.
like that.
Send it to the UK or Saudi Arabia, June, July, or August, along with your normal shows in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are professionals. Yes, they work out every day, but you've got time that you can separate them and everything. Because here's my thing: if you wanted to do that week that they're all traveling, you wanted to do a double taping a Raw or a double taping a SmackDown, so you can get all your traveling into the United States, back to the UK, or back to the United States. I'm fine with that 100%. But I don't want to watch all of my pay-per-views at noon, or not even live.
Right. Like tomorrow, we got to watch it at noon.
And I'll be honest, and with the Royal Rumble being over there, it's not going to be live.
Why do they do it on a Sunday? Usually they've been doing them on Saturdays.
Holiday weekend.
Oh, okay. Well, two things I'll say, and then I'll let you move on. Number one, I bet WWE grosses more money off the two Saudi Arabia shows than AEW does on everything.
I can probably agree with that.
And now I want to go back to AEW and say something with their storylines and everything. They need to slow, and WWE needs to do one thing too. I'll point out they need to not do too. Okay, for example, you don't want blood every match. If you have blood every match, it's not the oh shit factor. The fork thing was too much. You can get by with more on pay-per-view, but I don't know. That was an Abdullah the Butcher thing, and I just hope they don't do that every time. Do all that very often. But WWE needs to cut back on their no-rules matches. That's fine to have one, but don't do it very often. When you do it, it's oh, wow. It's just becoming a regular thing.
Right.
So I think they're abusing that. Like AEW is abusing blood and stuff.
I get that. So I'm going to add on to both of those things. For AEW, I'm going to say they jam-pack every show with match after match after match. It looks like an old Vince McMahon show.
Yep.
There's no time to tell any storylines.
No. And the matches got to be hurt. No, I get that. That's one thing I do like that Hunter's done.
Yes.
With WWE.
So you've got to do that with your AEW shows.
Right.
You've got to cut back on the amount of matches that you've got because, I think in a 2-hour program tonight there was probably nearly 10 matches.
Yeah, there was a bunch. There's one right after the other.
There's no time to actually tell any backstage stories, any kind of stories, any good promos. So I think you need to cut back on the amount of matches for each night that you're doing. And for WWE, I don't really have a true complaint other than I do agree that kind of cut back on the no holds barred, all these other different type of rules matches. Let's go back to old fashioned. This title is for one fall.
Yes, and I think we, even in WWE, and I don't have a problem with it, I like it, but I think you do too many matches with tables and chairs and no rules. It takes the thrill out of it when you do it.
If you haven't noticed, the problem is, look who has their pretty picture on all of them tables.
Yes, it's pretty, Snap into a Slim Jim.
So they're getting money off of that. And, I don't know if he's ever have, but I want to know what Vince McMahon thinks of all of the advertising on the ring floor.
He was against it before, they said.
That's what I've always heard.
I don't really have a problem with that, to be honest with you. But I don't think Vince was.
See, I'm glad that they don't do it for PLEs.
Right.
That's
just their weekly show.
Yes. So they
do it on Saturday Night Main Event, though, don't they?
That I don't know. But here's the something. Talking about that. Do they do it on Friday night too? I wonder if that's a Netflix thing.
I don't remember. I should know that, but I don't remember for sure.
I'm drawing a complete blank here.
Too. I don't remember. That's a good thing to look at next time.
It is. But
I think that what you were talking about, I'm not trying to change here, but I want to reiterate this. I think that AEW better hope that WWE takes their video library to ESPN or somewhere else, so they might have an opportunity to get hooked in with Peacock. That would be their best thing.
Right,
for them.
absolutely. And here's another thing that they could even think about is that they're already on HBO Max with tied in with Turner and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Why not work out a deal with HBO Max? Whoever owns HBO, I guess it's HBO. I don't know who actually owns HBO.
To do something like that there, if they can.
To do something like that there, be like, hey, because
Hulu too, don't you? You got Hulu, HBO Max. I mean,
well, Hulu is part of Disney, who owns ESPN.
Okay.
So that's why I'm going along the lines of the HBO Max.
That might be a good place for them to go. They ought to think about.
Yes. So if they do that thing, because right now, because like us, we have HBO Max for free with ads because I have it bundled with our Cricket account.
Mm-hmm.
So if they said, well, we're going to add another $10 if you want to see AEW, our library, all our live streams.
Oh, yeah.
And then on top of that, you automatically get our Dynamite and not Rampage, but Collision.
Right. Oh, yeah, that would, no question. I don't think you'll see them leave those weekly shows, leave TBS.
Probably not, but, the more I think about, the more they do have options with HBO Max. I think they just got to take them. And I don't know if he may be making money off the pay-per-view. I don't know.
I'm sure that he is, but I think we're past pay-per-view. I think that's, and that was a huge deal in the 90s and into the early 2000s, but that concept has kind of got long in the tooth, and I think we're past that.
I agree with that. Yes.
So
I'm young. You're old as the dirt. Mm-hmm. How did the pay-per-views work for, like, say if you had cable? Could you get it on, like, regular old cable?
Here in town, I don't think you could get it, and you couldn't get pay-per-views that I know of. You could get it if you had a satellite, or if you was in a big city with a cable system, you could order them. The satellite, it got there, I don't remember how it was in the beginning, but toward the end, you could just click it and order it right there.
Right.
I think the cable companies, you had to call and order it or something like that.
So how did that work? Would they just give you a random channel to be on and be like, okay, this is the channel you're going to...
designated area of pay-per-views that were blocked out all the time. You couldn't see them. And wherever the wrestling was going to be, that one would, when it come time, would open up and come on if you'd paid.
Okay. Because I know, like, on cable, like, they didn't have, a professional guide or whatever to go on. Like, for satellites, they had a nice little guide and everything where you could see all that stuff.
But the one thing we'll say, if you recall, the PLEs when they hit the network, it wasn't quite as good as the production was there, but it didn't look as good on TV through the network as it does with them being on, Peacock or something. Do you remember that? Sometimes the network wasn't.
Yes, but
that could have improved, though, I think.
I will take the WWE network back in a heartbeat.
No, we had it made when we had that.
Oh my goodness, we did. Me and my buddies were talking about that last weekend. We didn't know how good we had it then.
No, not at all. And I think WWE gave up on it too soon because they were making money, but they wanted to make more money.
Well, you know why, right? Vince saw money.
Oh yeah, they got money dangled out there in front
of them.
I mean,
if somebody comes to you and offers you, I don't know, what was the contract, like $200 million?
Oh yeah, it was a bunch. What was it? I heard one, and I'll say it on here. One podcast said that NBC come out there and offered their cock to him, and he took it.
Yeah. Did Jim Cornette say that?
Could have been. I don't remember now.
I love old Jim Cornette.
Me too.
We have talked pretty much the entire time about wrestling, but we are going to go ahead and move on. We got a couple of things in MLB world and even NFL. We've got NFL getting ready to kick off here before too long. So I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about our MLB news of the week. We have some interesting teams that are either emerging or falling in the way path. But first of all, I would like to congratulate Cal Raleigh, who has hit 50 home runs, and he joins Griffey Jr. and Mandel as the switch hitting power to hit that amount. And a couple of rookies to watch out for. Pete Crow Armstrong, who he had a really good year last year, but having a really good prominent year this year. He's looking really good. And as soon as I get it here, I'm going to pull up his stats and show his stats here. So over in year so far, so he had a full year last year, and then in 2023 he had 13 games. So, I mean, this is going to be his full complete year. If you want to go that far. In 133 games in 2025, he has batted .252 with 133 strikeouts. That is more than last year, but he's got more walks than last year, ton more RBIs than last year, and a ton more of at-bats than last year as well. And if you take a look at his stats a little deeper here, in 2025, he has hit 28 home runs, and he has had 31 stolen bases. So he has hit that 20-20 mark. Can he hit that 30-30 mark? Probably so with 28 home runs, so that's going to be interesting to watch. His OPS is up from last year as well as his slugging percentage and on OPS. So he's really having a great year. He will not qualify for Rookie of the Year or anything like that because that would have been his last year's stats. But he's still a young buck and potentially have a good run as a potential MVP candidate in the future. A couple of teams now that are continuing to soar is the Milwaukee Brewers, who are leading MLB standings. They are doing fabulous, as well as the Detroit Tigers. They are climbing up the ranks, and they are making that surprise push for the AL Central. We thought that there was going to be some other teams in that position. Kyle Schwarber's right there in the middle of the NL MVP race. That's a good race that we're going to see continue on moving forward. The Toronto Blue Jays are surging below 500 baseball, below the rest of the American League East leaders. We got a couple pitching milestones going on. Freddie Peralta of the Milwaukee Brewers has his MLB leading 16th win of the season. In his last start, he went 6 shutout innings versus the Blue Jays. And some more pitching news. Aroldis Chapman has signed a 1-year, $13 million extension with the Boston Red Sox. In his year with Boston, he has pitched to a 1.04 ERA and 26 saves in that time. So that is what we've got so far in the top news, and we will go ahead and give out the top standings and where these teams sit as of today. So the Toronto Blue Jays is in first place in the East. However, like I did mention, they are kind of struggling against our other AL East friends. In second place, we have the New York Yankees at 76 and 60, and 2 games behind there. Boston is 75 and 62, 3.5 games out there. So, going to be a close race come September, and see how things fold out there. And then at fourth place, we have the Tampa Bay Rays at 66 and 69, and Baltimore Orioles at 61 and 75. In the American League Central, we have the Detroit Tigers at 79 and 58. They are pretty well all in full control of that division. In second place, you have the Kansas City Royals at 70 and 66, 8.5 games out. In third place, you have the Cleveland Guardians at 68 and 66, 9.5 games out. And the Minnesota Twins at 61 and 74, 17 games out. And way out there is the Chicago White Sox at 48 and 88. They are 30.5 games out of first place. In the American League West, we have a struggling Houston Astros at 75 and 61, still holding on at first place by a desperate measure of 3 games over the Seattle Mariners at 72 and 64. And in third place, we have the Texas Rangers at 69 and 67, 6 games out of that division. And the last 2 spots are fairly close, and you got the Los Angeles Angels at 63 and 72 at 11.5 games out, and the Athletics at 63 and 73, 12 games out of the American League West. Moving on to the National League, we have the Philadelphia Phillies leading the pack in the East at 79 and 57, and 6.5 games behind them. In second place is the New York Mets at 73 and 63. And behind them by a few more games and 15 games out of first place is the Miami Marlins at 64 and 72. In fourth place, a surprising team that has been terrible all year long, but you would not have told me in March that this would have been a potential that the Atlanta Braves being in fourth place in 61 and 75, I would have said you were crazy. Washington Nationals, who started out this year and kind of struggled midway and kind of just completely fell off at 53 and 82. They are 25.5 games out of first place. Moving on to the Central, we have the best team in baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers at 85 and 52. And second place, we have the Chicago Cubs at 78 and 57, or 58 rather. They are 6.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. The Cincinnati Reds in third place at 500 baseball at 68 and 68, 16.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers. And the St. Louis Cardinals, who are continuing to have bad year after bad year at 68 and 69 at 17 games out of first place. And in last place, a surprising team that I thought that could have won a few more games and beat out St. Louis for that fourth place team is the Pittsburgh Pirates at 61 and 76, 24 games out there. And they are wasting opportunities with Paul Skeens. In the National League West, we have a kind of a struggling Los Angeles Dodgers as of late. They're 5-5 in their last 10 at 77 and 59. One game behind them is the San Diego Padres at 76 and 60. And in third place is the Arizona Diamondbacks at 68 and 69. And a team that is completely fell apart. And fourth place is the San Francisco Giants at 67 and 69. And in the last place, the worst team in baseball, probably the worst team in history, the Colorado Rockies at 38 and 98. That is your MLB standings as of August 30th, 2025 at 11:30. So that is your standings there. So we're going to go through the wild card real quick. The leaders of the wild card are kind of interesting. The American League is kind of set without being set in stone. My opinion. New York Yankees in the first wild card, Boston Red Sox in the second wild card, and Seattle Mariners in the third wild card. Of there, you got the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Guardians looking out, but with the Kansas City Royals being 2 games out and Cleveland Guardians being 3 games out, I just don't see it being feasible or possible that these teams could potentially make a good run. However, both the Cleveland Guardians and Texas Rangers have won their last 4 games. The Cleveland Guardians are 4-6 in their last 10, and the Texas Rangers are 7-3 in their last 10 games. They are both 3 games out of the wild card. So if Seattle continues to struggle as they struggled in their last 10 games, they're 4-6 in their last 10 games, and Kansas City continues to struggle, they're 5-5 in their last 10. That could be a potential where one of those 2 teams, the Cleveland Guardians or the Texas Rangers, overtake the Seattle Mariners. As of right now, I do not see that being possible, but there is always possibilities in September when it comes to September baseball, so you just never know with that. So moving on to the National League. First team is the Chicago Cubs. They are 5 games up over the other 2 teams. And the second wild card is held by the San Diego Padres, and then the last wild card is held by the New York Mets. This one is probably going to be more set than the American League after examining it a little closely, because the 2 that are kind of on the verge and could overtake, if the Mets or the Padres completely fall apart, it'll probably have to be the Mets completely fall apart, are the Cincinnati Reds and or the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are right there at that 500 or 496 winning percentage. Not real possible. This was a race that was a lot closer about a month ago, but the race that is kind of really has piqued my attention more than anything, and probably going to pique my attention as we continue to go into September, is going to be the American League wild card race there and the National League West. So that is your MLB standings. So, Dad, that was a lot to take in there.
It was. You went through it. You did well. You went through it and got through it. We spent a lot of time talking wrestling, but I don't mind that. I mean, there's a lot going on. We'll talk about some NFL stuff. I think most people are probably getting tired of hearing about the NFL. They want to see the games. Ready to get this deal going, but some of the top stories here. Micah Parsons was traded to the Green Bay Packers, a blockbuster deal. The Dallas Cowboys traded. I think we talked about this last time that it was going on. Dallas Cowboys traded star pass rusher Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers in exchange for a defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 first round draft picks.
So
pretty high price.
This was to being talked about.
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys being having Parsons on the trade block, but this trade didn't go through until this week.
Right. I think the Dallas got the better end of the deal.
Oh, absolutely.
2 first rounders.
Here's my thing. Jerry Jones has a way of just kind of working some kind of BS magic.
I don't know that I've ever remember somebody getting 2 first rounds for somebody. I mean, I guess maybe it had. I don't really remember that.
Now, didn't Houston get 2 first rounds out of Watson?
I don't think so.
I thought they did. I may be
That's
wrong.
Something we'll have to look up. But anyway, I think Dallas come out good on that. Huge payday. The Packers immediately signed Parsons to a new 4-year, $188 million deal, making him the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history. I was not aware of that.
So, real quick, I'm going to step in here. The Cleveland Guardians, the Cleveland Browns acquired Deshaun Watson way back in 2022 in exchange from the Houston Texans in exchange for 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a fourth-round pick.
Well, bet they regret that.
I don't. That was the best team in trade history right there.
Oh, my gosh. I didn't realize it was that. I didn't know all them first rounds. That surprised me. I think that was a much better deal for Houston.
100%.
Anyway, why it happened, the trade concluded a contentious offseason between Parsons and the Cowboys owner Jerry Jones over a new contract. According to reports, Jones' ego was a factor in the breakdown of negotiations. Betting impact following the trade, the Packers' Super Bowl odds significantly improved while the Cowboys' odds worsened. Cowboys fallout, Jones has compared the trade to the franchise-altering Herschel Walker deal of 1989, hoping that the draft picks will similarly set the Cowboys up for a future success. Now, they got a good deal, but they got to, they got to execute those first rounds correctly. Make sure that it's what they, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They got to get good picks. Roster moves in other news. The Carolina Panthers, the team signed a veteran wide receiver Hunter Renfrow to the active roster after a quad injury landed rookie Jalen Coker, however it's pronounced, on injured reserve. Miami Dolphins, the team extended the contract of head coach Mike McDaniel to a multi-year deal. Now, we just talked about him the other day.
So, before we move on, I want to pull out our handy-dandy preseason, postseason potentials here.
Okay.
Do you think that this Micah Parsons trade has helped my Packers winning the North prediction?
Probably. Yeah, big time.
I was looking at that and I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, a lot of people don't have the Packers winning the North, but I do.
Yeah, I think that's really true. I think it does, and it will. I think that probably pushes them. It's going to give them a good push. I think in the long term, Dallas is going to come out pretty good too. If they get good picks, I mean that's a lot. 2 first rounds.
Yeah. Well, I don't even have. Neither one of us have Dallas doing anything this year.
No.
But maybe that'll. But hey, real quick, I am happy for Mike McDaniel. We were talking about him the other day, whether he would, whether the team would move on from him or not. But it looks like that they're, that what they've given him that multi-year contract, that he's going to stick around here for a little while. I'm super excited about that. Hopefully that they can have some potential success in Miami. We don't have any true predictions on them. We don't have them in the wild card, nor do we have them in the East. But I think when we talked about our predictions show, that we had kind of talked about that they would kind of be that potential team that could come out and surprise everybody.
Exactly. But no, I got to concur with you. Mike McDaniel, I like him. I think he's kind of brings a fresh new set of ideas to the NFL.
He looks like, if he was to show up somewhere, he looks like a math tutor.
Yeah.
That has graduated college with a master's degree in calculus.
Yes, that's what he looks like. Doesn't look like a sports guy at all, but
no.
But hey, I wish him the best, and I think they'll do okay. I think they're going to do okay with him.
Absolutely, I'm excited about that.
The Green Bay Packers acquired rookie wide receiver Matthew Golden, and he will wear the number 0 for this team this season.
That's interesting.
The Houston Oilers had a player that wore 0-0. I'm trying to remember who it was, and I can't remember, but he wore 0-0 back in the day. The Kansas City Chiefs, the defending champions, made several moves, re-signing running back Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the practice squad and tight end Robert Tonyan to the active roster. Shiloh Sanders was fined. Former Buccaneers safety and NFL free agent Shiloh Sanders was fined for unnecessary roughness in a preseason game before being cut by the team. Have you heard about all the rules changes on the celebration?
No.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Enlighten us.
I wish I had them where I was going to actually have them for this podcast, and I didn't get them. You might want to pull it up there real fast. There's several of them. While you're doing that, I'll talk a little bit about. Just want to say one more thing. Fantasy football is getting ready to get going. The draft for fantasy football is in full swing. With preseason NFL over with, podcast and fantasy websites are offering their final rankings, sleeper players, and draft strategy advice ahead of the busiest weekend of fantasy drafts. So everybody's having their draft parties and draft get-together now, and we're going to do our picks and everything. But we're here, folks. We're, 5 days away? 4 days away.
Yeah, it's this Thursday, isn't it?
5 days. 5 days away, and so we're ready. Okay, you want to tell us about the rule changes for the celebrating?
So I'm trying to find some of this stuff when it comes to that. So I'm seeing some of the kickoff stuff. So basically, it's just telling me that they're keeping everything the same it was last year, except it's permanent. I am not seeing anywhere about that, so I'm gonna have to do some more research here. So I don't know. You said it was over celebrations?
After scoring and stuff.
All right,
After a
so
score or something.
for the 2025 season, the league is banning the nose wipe celebration along with other violent gestures like throat slashes and simulating guns as a part of effort to curb inappropriate behavior and promote safety. This changes and applies a 15-yard penalty for celebration. However, the NFL also loosens restrictions on other celebrations, allowing the bow and arrow gesture provided it is not aimed at an opponent.
And I think the throat slash has been for a while, hasn't it? You know, you do this right here.
Yeah.
I think that's been for a while.
And then the league also continues to crack down on celebrations that are sexually suggestive or offensive, which fall under the same category as violent or unsportsmanlike conduct.
Right.
And I agree with a lot of this stuff. Because, I mean, you don't want to, have act like you're shooting somebody out there or something. Because, somewhere a little kid's watching that. And,
Yeah.
these guys are professionals. You want to try to have them set good examples for the younger generations.
What do you think about the throat slash? That's probably not necessary either. To cut
No,
that out.
I mean, when I think of the throat slash, I think of The Undertaker. I think of wrestling. I don't think of anybody NFL,
Right. Arn Anderson used to do the throat slash when he was...
Right. Leave that at home or leave that in the ring. We don't need that out there on the field.
No, that's what I was thinking, too.
So I agree with a lot of that stuff. Well,
from an NFL standpoint, that's about all I got for you this week. College football
has kicked off. A big college football Saturday this week. One thing I want to go over here with you
I
before
hope I can get some opportunities to watch some of the weeks coming up.
Yes. Before we get off here, I want to go over this. I want to go over our predictions, and I'll give you an opportunity to change anything if you want to change.
Okay.
Before the season officially kicks off. So in the AFC East, we both have the Bills. In the AFC North, you have the Ravens. I have the Ravens, so we both have the Ravens there. In the South, you have the Texans. I have the Colts. In the AFC West, we both have the Chiefs. In your AFC wild card, you have the Steelers, Chargers, and Broncos. And I have the Texans, Broncos, and Chargers.
I'm good with that.
In the NFC, we both have the Eagles in the East. You have Minnesota in the North. I have Green Bay in the North. The NFC South, you have the Falcons, and I have the Buccaneers. And in the West, we both have the Rams. Your wild card for the NFC is you have the Lions, Packers, and Commanders, and I have Lions, Commanders, and Bears.
I'm good with mine. I really am so far.
Okay, so that is our current predictions. They are set in stone. They will not be changed.
How did I have Green Bay?
You had Green Bay as the wild card because we just listed the wild cards not in any particular order because, with everything, you had them as a wild card.
The Lions is the...
You had Lions, Packers, and Commanders as your wild card teams. I had Lions, Commanders, and Bears.
Who did I have as winning the division?
You had Minnesota.
Can I change that?
I said if you wanted to.
I want to put Green Bay in there and put Minnesota as the wild card.
Now I look like a genius, don't I? Don't I?
The Michael Parsons, that's going to make that's going to...
So, now that we change it here, this will not be changed
anymore.
It is going to be set in stone.
Are we going to... we ought to start doing picks every week, too.
Yes, we can do that, too. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. See who leads this thing.
Yes, that'll be a lot of fun there.
From the NFL standpoint, that's all I got to say. I do want to say this. We mentioned college football going on. There's a lot of eyes and thoughts and a lot of drama on University of North Carolina. They're probably getting more attention now than they've ever got in my lifetime with Belichick being there. So we're interested. They play Monday night.
Yes, sir.
And I think we're all interested to see how that season's going to go. If nothing else, if they don't get a winning season out of Belichick, they sure did got a lot of attention out of it anyway.
100%. I think they will. They've had a good team because from what I heard through the rumor mill and what reaching out to people and seeing what they had, what their thoughts on it were, that the transfer portal was absolutely insane this season or this off season. So that tells me that there was a lot of transfers.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people that were, discussing wanting to come to Chapel Hill. So it's definitely going to be an interesting season, to say the least.
There's a lot more thing that he did mention this. Belichick did. There's a lot more when you're coaching football. There's a lot more time to focus on football without all the other stuff that goes with the NFL.
Absolutely. So the two biggest games on their schedule, I want to, we'll say three, that I want to go ahead and kind of highlight is this week, TCU. That will be Monday night.
Where's that going to be aired at? Do we know?
ESPN.
What time?
8 p.m.
East Central?
I guess this is Eastern.
Probably Eastern, yeah.
So then another one that I'm going to mention is UCF. I think that could potentially be a good game.
Right.
And then Clemson. They play Clemson October 4th.
That'll be a good game.
So those are the three games that I have really kind of ingrained in my mind to make sure that I try to watch.
Clemson's a home game too, isn't it?
Yes. But those are the ones that I really think that are going to be the good games and have got stuck in my mind. So super excited about that and super excited about the start of the NFL season. Next time we're here, we will have NFL news. And
absolutely. I'm looking forward to
the first official scores, not just preseason scores.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
So we're excited to see that. Then we will have our first top 25 ranking of the year.
That's right.
In college football. So a lot of stuff going on here. We'll have also some of our Clash in Paris thoughts and stuff once we come back here. So we will see you next week. Enjoy the rest of your week and your holiday if you're listening on Monday. So happy Labor Day, because this will be going out on Monday morning. So happy Labor Day. And happy Have a good week, and we will see you next week here on the Backyard Sports Talk.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. Have, as he said, a good Labor Day. Got a lot of sports and wrestling coming up, so let's get ready to dive into all that. So, everybody, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time.